elections take place. So this is a it's going to be a 7-phase process of voting, and it was expected that it will be either 6 or 7 phases. And even the calendar that has come out, I mean, give and take a few days here and a week here and there, it appears to be as per it was expected. However, what, as you also mentioned, what I find very intriguing is that though the election, on the one hand, the election is spread over 7 phases all over the country, but there are certain states in which the election is unusually spread out, in the sense the states of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, even Madhya Pradesh to some extent, and West Bengal, where you see that in each phase it is only just so few seats which will go to vote. All right. So coming to, when I look at it in terms of the parties, the bigger parties contesting the elections, I would have to think, I will be curious to know, you know, every party goes to the campaign with a package. So in states like Bihar or Uttar Pradesh or West Bengal, when they build up a certain mood of the campaign, the senior leaders of the party or the state senior leaders of the party and the workers, you know, who are the feet on the ground,
yes,
I would wonder how they will be able to sustain that momentum of the campaign, how they will be able to keep up the interest of the voters, and not and to ensure that they do not get bored with the campaign, because this campaign will go on in pockets, you see. For example, 5 seats in Bihar will vote on one certain day,
yes,
another 5 to 7 seats will vote on another day. So, you know, in these days when there is internet, there is a very robust regional television network, there are very localized newspaper editions being,
yes,
being consumed by the people. I would wonder that they have to find out new issues of the campaign to sustain that interest of the voter. Otherwise, I mean, I'm worried, will it slip into boredom for the
yes,
common
and
voter?
a tough slog for the parties and perhaps boredom for the. Anuj ji, आप बताइए ये क्या किया है इस बारी सुनील अरोरा जी?
देखिए, लॉन्गेस्ट इलेक्शन तो पहला लोकसभा चुनाव था जो कई महीनों चला, लेकिन पिछली बार 9 फेज, इस बार 7 फेज, इसके बावजूद वोटिंग डेट्स का स्प्रेड यदि आप देखें, पिछली बार 37 डेज का था, इस बार 40 डेज का है जी। और जो आचार संहिता लगी हुई है वो सबसे अधिक 80 दिन के लिए लगी हुई है इस समय जी, जो पिछले बार से 1-2 दिन ज्यादा ही है जी। यदि मैं महाराष्ट्र जैसे बड़े स्टेट की तरफ जाऊं, क्योंकि बाकी स्टेट इन्होंने कहा जी, महाराष्ट्र में 1999 और 2004 में 2 फेज का इलेक्शन था, 9 और 14 में 3 फेज का इलेक्शन था, इस बार 4 फेज का इलेक्शन हो रहा है। एक चीज मुझे ये भी समझ में आ रही है कि पिछली बार से उल्टा जी, उत्तर प्रदेश, बिहार या बाकी मैंने नॉर्थ ईस्ट के स्टेट्स को छोड़ के बाकी को यदि मैं देखूं तो ईस्ट से वेस्ट की तरफ इलेक्शन डेट्स गई थी, और इस बार उसका उल्टा होता हुआ 2009 की तरह उल्टा होता हुआ दिख रहा है मुझे इस बार।
और ये उल्टा होने का इसका परिणाम क्या हो सकता है? आपके पास फिर आऊंगा, बट क्विक एक टिप्पणी इस पे।
यदि प्रधानमंत्री, अभी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी वाइज ही पता लगा है, लेकिन यदि प्रधानमंत्री जी की कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी वाराणसी पहले फेज या दूसरे फेज में निपट जाती है तो वो फ्री हो जाते हैं पूरे देश में कैंपेन का।
दैट इज वन की हेडलाइन। एंड ऑफ द 5 states that were expected to go for elections, assembly elections, beg your pardon, Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal, Sikkim, Odisha to be held simultaneously, coterminous with this poll. Jammu Kashmir is not going to vote in a new assembly anytime soon. There is no indication, obviously, if they have not decided to do a simultaneous poll, that schedule will come later. Quick observation, Deepak, what is this schedule telling you?
It tells me it will be difficult for all parties to sustain interest for such a long time. Especially today, I do not see many parties having a cadre-based organization to sustain it for a long time. And if it may end up becoming a very localized election in every 4-5 seats.
Okay, very localized in every 4-5 seats. Your headline, Vivek, at this stage?
40 seats in Bihar, 42 in West Bengal, and 18 UP. All going to polls in 7 phases. That makes it 162 seats
divided by 7.
That makes it roughly 23 seats. On paper, it looks very fine, but the election in these states especially will become very dull and very monotonous as far as the voter and the leader both are concerned.
Okay, that is dull, monotonous, extremely strenuous, long drawn in the last phase. Aditi, your headline at this stage?
I think particularly over 7 phases, number one, I think we need to know when the top leaders' elections are going to be held, so that how quickly they can be free from the tedium of campaigning in their own constituencies. and how much their talent can be used elsewhere. Secondly, I think this kind of an election which will put a lot of pressure on the existing MP and the aspiring MP. So every constituency will see very focused, very intense campaigning.
Okay.
Because you can't have, I mean, if it was a state-based election, the whole state would be campaigning for X, Y or Z party. But here, every MP will be up for a test, or every person who wants to be an MP will be up for a test.
Party structures, party organization,
will have
and
to be
I dare
rejigged.
say even finances will be
That's what I
Ms. Fulla,
wanted
your
to say.
headline before I go.
No, that's what I wanted to say. I'm actually feeling very, very sorry for those who have polls in the later phases, because the election has been notified, the battle has been joined. There is pressure. If you are a sitting MP or you're pretty sure that you're going to get the ticket, or your ticket gets announced earlier, to keep campaigning, and the amount of money that the MP or the aspirant or the contender would have to spend, I'm already feeling rather sorry for them, because in 2009 and 2014, we did see a lot of people complaining about this kind of thing. Voter fatigue will be high, and I do agree with this point that there may be a lot of overarching or issues all over India. Countrywide issues, but if you splice up elections within a particular state to 3 phases, 4 phases, etc., there is a tendency that the election will be more localized.
Okay, Anuj, I also want you to expand subsequently on why not a more state cluster based approach क्यों नहीं की गई इस बारी, but उससे पहले मैं मुरलीधर स्वामीनाथन और किंगशुक नाग के पास जाऊंगा. किंगशुक, to you first. And not only on West Bengal, but your headline at this stage, 7 phase in the 162 seats, which are the key battleground states. Your reactions about this schedule?
Well, I was very bored listening to the Chief Election Commissioner, and I hope the election doesn't become so boring. I mean, it goes on and on. There'll be a fatigue of voters, there'll be fatigue of everybody, including journalists. So I don't know why some state like West Bengal has got so many phases, and some state like Andhra Pradesh has only 1 phase. West Bengal I understand, because there'll be a law and order problem, I think they're assuming. But I don't know about Andhra Pradesh. So I'm totally confused. I don't have any. I think we should try and aim to have shorter elections. And the normal explanation given is that there are no law and order machinery, because it's the same CRPF which has to go around, and there are not so many CRPF Jawans available, and that is the reasoning for not having a single based election. So I think, is it linked with CRPF or is it linked with some other considerations? I am quite unable to understand. But I am totally, on the whole, I am personally very confused at this.
Okay, and I want to, before I go to Murli, I want to bring up that point once again. Earlier, there had been reports and all channels and platforms had flashed that there is going to be a press conference by the State Election Commissioner of Jammu and Kashmir. I think he will now only talk about the Lok Sabha elections. Omar Abdullah already pointing out the sort of slip up in perhaps the way the announcement came about the number of seats in the state. I think it was said 7 or 8, there are actually 6, so we'll get to that clarity. Murli, an extremely expensive election, but if you can, sitting from where you are, tell us whether match the Karnataka election, example, is in phase 2 among the 4 states that are going to vote then, and then others, aligned states, I think Andhra is in phase 1. Anything that you could discern from that?
The question, I have a problem. I think the line is not clear. If you could come back with the question, please.
Murli, I was asking you about the votings, the phase-wise spread in South India. What could you gather from that?
No, I don't think that doesn't matter. See, as far as the voter is concerned, the issues on the ground is what will matter to them. Now, this question of fatigue, is all in the minds of us who look at it, because we are journalists. At the end of the day, the fatigue factor comes to us. People who want to go out and vote will go out and vote. They are doing other things. They are not sitting and watching elections throughout the day. When the mandate date comes, they will go out and vote. I don't see that as a big issue, Siddharth.
Okay, we'll also get some market voices on the broader sort of convo, but I'll do one more round quickly before we take a short break and then come back with some market voices. Smita, coming back, and we were discussing the Congress performance where the BJP performance. Is this in the nature that it has been structured, telling us that the Election Commission, obviously mindful of security consideration, the movement of parliamentary forces, but if it is spread out so much, and Anuj pointed out the phases may be lesser, but the total time is almost 80 days. What is this telling you at a second reading?
No, first of all, I don't think the Election Commission looks at the momentum of the political parties and their strategy. It looks at the availability of the security forces it has at its disposal, and then regarding going by the logistics of deployment and such things, they decide their phases. I don't think they care about how or which way the campaign might or might not go. But then it's our job to look at it from the other angle as well. I think the spread out of elections being very prolonged, particularly in some states. I don't think we have gone, Siddharthji, I mean this calendar shows that we have not exactly gone by the size of the states. Because had we factored only the size of the states, then you see Tamil Nadu is voting in one day.
Yes.
Andhra is voting in one day.
Yes.
These are also one of the bigger states. So we are not going by the size of the, and Tripura is going in 2 phases, exactly.
They have only 2 seats.
So and they have 2 seats, which means 1 seat one day and the other seat the other day. So I think we are not going by the largeness or the size of the state. We are going by other considerations, among which deployment of forces may have been the most important factor, including other logistics. Now coming to the 2 biggest contenders, that is the BJP and allies and the Congress and allies. I think it will put pressure on both of them. Why? Because particularly for the BJP, you see the bigger states are getting free from voting in the earlier phases.
Yes.
And the Hindi heartland is going to vote till the last phase.
You said pressure on the BJP?
I'll tell you why.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi tweeting, I just want to read that out. The festival of democracy, elections are here. This is I urge my fellow Indians to enrich the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. Continue, Smita.
Yes. So from the BJP's point of view, I look at it this way. You see, the BJP does not have very many stalwarts or big faces who can, spruce up their campaign coming from down south. They're true, I mean, the biggest star campaigners of the BJP are very much from the Hindi heartland.
Right.
Whereas there are other parties whose big leaders may be free earlier, in the earlier part of the election schedule, but then it doesn't matter that, for the campaign too much, because when you come down to it, you see that the biggest campaigners in both the combinations are coming from the Hindi heartland people. Even if you look at their Congress, their biggest campaigners are in the north only.
Ji.
And the south ones, even otherwise, the other disadvantage we enjoy in our country is that those who are big campaigners in their states in the south do not so much gel with the crowd in northern India. Okay. Now coming to the factor of boredom, Murli ji was just pointing out that for the voter it doesn't matter, this boredom, because the voter will be going on with his daily routine as usual, and then one day he or she will go and vote. So the boredom is for us journalists. But I did not mean it that way. What I meant was the pressure on the party machineries.
That is
what I meant was the challenge of issues. See, the more prolonged the election, that many more interesting issues have to be created to make the people interested.
And we started the debate saying, will it be an election post Balakot or will issues prior to Balakot also come up? Anuj ji, एक प्रश्न जिस पे आप हमारे viewers को जरा focus करवाएं, ये जो 18 फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर रादर कहें, बिल्कुल जो पहली बारी वोट में आए हैं, उसकी जो टोटल पॉपुलेशन है, जो यूनिवर्स है वो वोट्स का, वो इस बारी काफी बड़ा, वो नंबर आपको क्या बता रहा है और दिस ग्रोथ व्हाट डज इट टेल यू?
देखिए 1.5 करोड़ वोटर जो हैं वो 18 से 19 एज ग्रुप वाले हैं और 5 साल में लगभग इलेक्शन कमिश्नर साहब सीईसी साहब ने 9 करोड़ के आसपास कहा है। मैं उनके रिजल्ट के आंकड़े देखूं तो मुझे लगता है 7.5 करोड़ के आसपास होते हैं। वो भी संख्या हो तो भी बहुत बड़ी संख्या है। कांग्रेस और बीजेपी के बीच जो वोट गैप था उससे बड़ी संख्या है वो। इसलिए जो जिन्होंने पिछले बार मतदान की जिनकी हैसियत नहीं थी और इस बार वोटिंग कर रहे होंगे उनमें रिजल्ट्स को बदल पाने की बहुत बड़ी क्षमता होगी। और जो प्रश्न आपने अभी स्मिता जी से पूछा था उसका 1-2 लाइन का जवाब मैं भी देना चाहूंगा जी। शांत दक्षिण के राज्यों में जहां बीजेपी को कुछ मिलना जुलना नहीं है वो सब एक फेज में निपट जाएंगे जी। उत्तर भारत में यानी महाराष्ट्र से शुरू होकर के मैं ऊपर आता हूं जहां भाजपा को सबसे अधिक दांव उसका लगा हुआ है वहां उसके सबसे प्रमुख प्रचारक सबसे मेहनती व्यक्ति जो भारतीय राजनीति में इस समय है नरेंद्र मोदी जी, उनको मेहनत करने का पूरा मौका मिल रहा है। और कुछ कुछ राज्यों में जैसे मायावती जी और अखिलेश मिलकर के या प्रियंका जी और राहुल जी मिलकर के उत्तर प्रदेश में उनको घेरेंगे, मगर उनके पास बाकी राज्यों में भी मैदान पूरा खुला हुआ है जहां से बीजेपी की अधिक से अधिक सीटें निकालने की वो कोशिश करेंगे।
और मेहनती प्रधानमंत्री के बारे में अनुज गुप्ता जी ने यहाँ पे रेफरेंस दी। ट्विटर अकाउंट पे लगातार उनके द्वारा ट्वीट्स आ रहे हैं। जो लेटेस्ट ट्वीट आया है 50 सेकंड पहले वो कहता है, टुडे द पीपल ऑफ इंडिया नो दैट इट इज पॉसिबल टू बिकम द फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग इकोनॉमी, गिव अ बिफिटिंग रिप्लाई टू टेरर, एलिमिनेट पॉवर्टी एट अ रिकॉर्ड पेस, मेक इंडिया स्वच्छ, रिमूव करप्शन, एंश्योर इंक्लूसिव एंड एक्सटेंसिव डेवलपमेंट। द बीजेपी and Prime Minister Modi out there campaigning, and if you see 5 or 6 tweets that have been put out from 8 minutes earlier, and this is a space that is going to be watched very, very closely. I want to go to Kingshuk Nag very briefly before we continue this debate with our guests in the studio. Kingshuk, add to this point that Anuj Gupta said that Shant South, the peaceful South, versus the Hindi heartland where the BJP has to work the hardest.
Well, I object to the saying peaceful South. It's peaceful South for BJP because BJP has hardly any presence there. But the election can be very, very
peaceful South for the BJP.
It's peaceful South for the BJP because their presence there is the minimum. But it's not going to be peaceful, say in Andhra Pradesh where TDP is fighting the front put up by BJP there. So it's not that the elections are going to be peaceful, it's only that for BJP the elections are going to be peaceful because they have to depend on partners to win the seats for them. In that sense, it's peaceful.
Okay. Murli, coming back to you on the market, since it is almost a 80-day sort of enforcement of the model code of conduct, Murli, for the markets, what will this period really imply and mean?
Right. So, Siddharth, it's going to be uncertainty and volatility. What are the key things that will influence market investors' mood? It's mood, money, monsoon and mandate. These 4 things will matter for the markets from here to the day the new government is formed and the new Lok Sabha is constituted. We are counting about 80 to 85 days. Now, the issue here is, everything will now move from Balakot to basics as far as the issues are concerned. So, every opportunity to buy will be bought, but people will not take excessive position as they get closer to the election dates. Now, if I go back to 2014, Siddharth, what was the kind of swing that we saw in the market? If I go only by Nifty, we looked at a 700-point rally in the same period, roughly about 1.5 to months, about 45 to 50 days is what I am looking at, taking April 1 as the cutoff. There was a 700-point rally in the markets because at that point in time, the markets were 100% sure that Narendra Modi would be winning the mandate. And
noted market voice, Mr. Dilip Bhatt is joining us. I have a question for Dilip Bhatt and then you can weigh in on the debate. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Dilip Bhatt. The 7-phase Lok Sabha poll counting on 23rd of May. Markets will clearly be looking at the outcome on the 23rd, even as they choose to continue with their daily business and vote whenever they have the opportunity. Your thoughts?
Sure. I think market probably will try to read as to which way the trend is blowing. And if you see last time in 2014, the same thing happened. Market guessed it right and we saw a good trending rally that happened right from beginning of January, right till the time the conclusion of the elections. So in the collective wisdom, market always possibly gets it right. So this time too, I think it will be closely watching, and everybody will be watching about which way the winds are blowing, and market will try to catch that terrain. But yes, in a run-up for the next 1 week or 15 days, there will be a lot of volatility. But at the end of it, after the elections, after the counting, after the results, possibly you'll see a volatility for a couple of days. But after that, it really doesn't matter who comes, whether it's BJP or whether it's the alliance from the opposite side, because ultimately India is now gone into an very autopilot mode in terms of the economic growth. Whether we'll be growing close to 7% or whether we'll be growing close to 8%, that will really be the issue, and that will not make a huge difference. So I think markets will possibly try to move on those on the lines which I broadly think it is.
My colleague Muralidhar Swaminathan has a question for you, but before Murli asks you a question, Dilip Bhatt, I just wanted to add for our viewers, Fir Ek Baar Modi Sarkar slogan unveiled by the Prime Minister on his Twitter handle 3 minutes ago. Guided, and I am reading from that tweet, guided by Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, NDA seeks your blessings again. Now time has come to build on that and create a strong, prosperous, secure India. Hashtag Fir Ek Baar Modi Sarkar. Very important, Fir Ek Baar Modi Sarkar now officially on the Prime Minister's Twitter handle. जो मुमकिन नहीं था वो मुमकिन करके दिखाया was the slogan last week. Now Fir Ek Baar Modi Sarkar hashtag, and we'll bring that picture up. Murli, you had a question for Dilip.
Yeah, Dilip, good evening. You know, my question to you is, FIs are seeing something that we are not seeing. You know, they pumped in $2.8 billion, and do you think they are taking a positional call and betting on Modi coming back, and they don't want to miss the bus?
Well, yes, if one were to read that in the month of March, after a long time, we have seen the FIs resuming their big buying. Otherwise, it had always been, they had been in the sell mode on a net basis. Yes, clearly it's advantage BJP in a run-up to this election without any doubt. And possibly we'll have to see the FIs flow in both, you know, in the cash segment as well as the derivative segment, because that is how they operate, especially those people who are trying to take a positional call. They probably would like to do on the derivative as well as the cash front. But yes, certainly if these early trends are anything to go by from the FIs, probably they are sensing that Modi possibly will come back.
Dilip, I have one more question to you. Do you think that after this 500 and odd point rally in the last 3 weeks, do you expect the markets to consolidate? Is it an overbought situation right now and it will be range bound?
So as what I said at the starting, that maybe next 2 weeks possibly there will be uncertainty. But if market gets a very definite trend of one of the alliances leading, whether it's BJP or the other alliances leading, then possibly markets will start going northwards very decisively. But otherwise, my own guess is that there's going to be a lot of uncertainty and markets possibly will move sideways without giving any specific trend.
All right, Dilip Bhatt, thank you very much for those views, and very clearly we will continue to keep track of the markets and politics, because remember, it's not just business plus, but business plus politics that we are focused on here at BTVI, and that's the kind of coverage and in-depth information that we will bring to you as to how India will vote over 2019 beginning tomorrow. 20 data-packed and insightful and illustrative shows on how key voting themes and trends will play out in 2019 before we hit the ground, bringing you the views straight from the Indian voter. I'm going to do one round of closing comments with my entire panel, and I want to come to Aditi first here with me in the studio. Aditi, मुमकिन जो नहीं था वो मुमकिन हुआ, अब मुमकिन है, but the Prime Minister minutes ago talking about फिर एक बारी मोदी सरकार. Should I read much into it, or is this a slogan that we knew was in the air for a lot of time?
Well, in India, the practice is for others to say who the Prime Minister is going to be, not for the Prime Minister himself to say who the Prime Minister is going to be. Phir ek baar Modi Sarkar suggests that the decision which was to be taken at the legislature party, which is the traditional venue where a leader of the party, therefore the Prime Minister, first among equals, is elected, that decision has already been taken. This also means that persons who were mildly critical in his own party of Mr. Modi's way of functioning, mildly critical, are now, not
What
being
about
given any
overtly
space.
critical people? Are they going to get tickets? Shatrughan Sinha is an example.
Well, of course not. Shatrughan Sinha is, for all practical purposes, not in the party. Although he may be a sitting MP,
Yes.
I think it's quite clear.
The seat of Patna Sahib up for the
Patna
toss.
Sahib.
I want to come to you, Vivek. Now, as far as the candidates being finalized, the Congress sort of unveiled its big two faces, and the third one has not been. I think the message there was to convey that the Gandhis will lead the campaign on the ground. That is the reason I see Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi's announcement. When is Priyanka's announcement expected, if at all?
I don't think she'll contest at all.
Okay.
She won't be contesting. That is.
So what is this strategy then? You bring out your heavy artillery yet not fire it?
No. She will provide fire cover to Rahul Gandhi to move in the entire country.
Okay.
And she will not contest. This is the latest which I'm getting from the party. This is late last night. I was speaking to someone very senior in the Congress in Lucknow.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, अब देखने की बात यह किसका बूथ सबसे ज्यादा मजबूत.
Okay.
And number three, now it will be a scramble of lists coming out. Last minute coalitions are to be finalized. For example, in UP, whether Apna Dal, Rajbhar happen to be with the BJP or not, whether Congress still finds a place in the Mahagathbandhan or not, what happens to Lalu and Congress Gathbandhan, in which Kushwaha and
nominations file करने के लिए केवल 15 दिन बचे हैं
जी. तो अब
आज से अगर गिने.
आज से कल परसों तक 2 से 3 दिन तक you start getting lists from all political parties with their candidates.
Okay, list from parties. So viewers, expect over the next 2-3 days a deluge of news as the lists get finalized. And remember, for the BJP, this is a question that I also want to come to my other guests on the show, is the return of the 75-year plus people. But Deepak, the question I want to ask you is the campaign points really that you see emerging. What will this campaign now